Well, I'm joined now by Kate Beecroft. This is really following on from my interview with Anthony Webber, because you were referred to numerous times in that. So I thought it was good to get your feedback, because you put the questions here to the Chief Minister. What is going on? I mean, do we need to go back as far as the Syrian thing, or was it more about who's running what?
Yeah,
really.
To me, it sounds awful, but it was nothing to do with the Syrian refugees. What sparked my interest in it was the letter that was signed by the 3 Crown dependencies. And I saw that ours had been signed by an officer, and I thought, well, who authorised this? And if the Chief Minister had authorised it, why didn't he just sign it himself? That sort of question. And then, of course, it turned out when I asked the questions, it turned out that the Chief Secretary had authorised the officer to sign the letter, and the Chief Minister knew nothing about it.
Did alarm bells ring for you on that one then?
Yeah,
you heard
absolutely,
that
absolutely.
But he was relaxed about it. I'm just trying to remember hearing that. He was trying to shut it down almost. It's okay, move on, wasn't it?
Well, yeah. I mean, it was this sort of thing happens all the time, and you know they don't come to the Chief Secretary doesn't ask for authority for everything from me, because it's all day-to-day running. Well, of course, when I asked the question about how many times had the Chief Secretary authorised something in a legal tribunal in the UK before, I mean, that was clearly not quite the day-to-day running that it was painted to be.
Right. So what happens now after we get this final, information out of what seems to be going on? Are you more worried, less worried, or do things need to be changed, tightened up?
Absolutely, something needs to be changed, because it's wrong that something like this should be carrying on in a court of law in the UK that affects us and affects our reputation without any political input or knowledge. And I think certainly the powers of the Chief Secretary need looking at, and also the role of the Attorney General. Where does that line sort of draw? Because presumably after the event he must have been advising government at the same time that he was writing, saying, with the other Attorney Generals of the other Crown dependencies, saying that they didn't want the information released. So there's sort of a dual role, there's a bit of a conflict of interest in there, because once he's given one piece of advice he can hardly go back on it.
I mean, obviously, clearly things have to keep going, that obviously just behind the scenes that aren't massively needing a decision from Coleman or whatever. You accept that? So
yes, I do.
Is that finding that level of what?
It is, and it's drawing that line and being very clear about it, so people know what their roles are and how far they can go within that role to fulfil their duties without overstepping that mark.
And clearly, when it's a policy decision, something that should be politically made rather than just by a civil servant.
Definitely.
Your time inside the tent, did you see that in your own areas? In healthy. I mean, it's a leading question, because obviously you clearly did. But do you think it's widespread then in government?
Yes,
here
I do, and that's what worries me.
Yeah. It
really does worry me.
How do you fix that though?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I tried to fix it with my Chief Executive at the time, if you recall. It certainly didn't work, because I failed to have support of the Chief Secretary or the Chief Minister at the time. And
is that part of this sort of the little gang or whatever it is that suppressed you? Do you feel that you were marginalised by trying to shut you down at that time in health?
Well, very much so. I mean, when you take into consideration that the Chief Secretary actually had the temerity to threaten me with my job, when I was actually doing as he'd asked me to do, going to him with any problems about the Chief Executive at that time, and he threatened me in front of the Chief Minister, and he didn't do anything about it. How does that has to take away my authority with the Chief Executive? How can I expect a Chief Executive to behave better if I ask him to, and then the Chief Secretary, who is his line manager, doesn't enforce it, and neither does the Chief Minister? A minister is only going to battle after that sort of thing.
I should really ask you, did you feel vindicated now with what happened in health?
Absolutely. If you read the PAC reports and Sir Jonathan Michael's report, it absolutely vindicates my position.
Did you ever get an apology from anyone about it?
Don't be silly.
Well, just thought I'd ask.
Sorry, that'd be too much to ask, wouldn't it?
You're going to keep battling on though?
Of course. Do I ever give up, Paul? You should know me better than that.